person who have been part of this program each and every single day. And I know that this is another program that you people will enjoy. And today, for today's live session, we have Mr. Cherian, who's the staff here at FEBA. Thank you so much, Mr. Ipe, for joining you. How are you?
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you, Johan. Thanks.
So, so today's episode of Reality Bang, we'll be touching on the topic of war. So it's going to be a very different perspective. All other people previous. If you look at the other sessions or anyone who has done live, the live it will be about war. Today it's going to be the biblical perspective, and Mr. Ayub Cherian will touch from a biblical perspective on the topic of war. And before getting into the live, if you ever want to get in touch with us, you can definitely get in touch with us at 63642521 and 64. And if you ever want to get in touch with us in email, you can definitely do that as well at info@feba.gmail at gmail. Sorry. So again, thank you so much for each and every person who are here in the live, and let's just get straight into it. So, Mr. Type, I would like to ask the first question, which is that there are so many passages like in the Old Testament that is talking about war, right? And war is seen, it's been spoken, it's been told throughout the Old Testament. How does Jesus teaching in the New Testament, how does that contradict to, all the wars that has taken place in the Old Testament?
I believe when you said the teaching of Jesus, you mean to say that the teaching in the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus said, if someone slaps you on your face, you show him the other cheek, right? Then how can the same Bible talk about war and also encouraging the children of Israel to go for war and conquer other nations, even to the extent that God told the children of Israel to completely destroy some nations. Okay, if there are many people who argue that, if you don't know those chapters, let me tell you, it is in Numbers chapter 31, where God is asking Moses is asking the children of Israel. God is asking through Moses to destroy all the Midianites, annihilate them. And then also in Deuteronomy 23, I think there's a reference that you should completely destroy Amalekites. Now, this is a very difficult passage. Many people say that, yeah, this we got you. The Bible has contradiction. In the Old Testament, it says that you should go and kill, and in the New Testament, it says, you know, if someone slaps you on your face, show him the other side of the face. Now, uh, we must understand that Bible is not written as a set of rules. It is actually written in a way that God interacts with people. God speaks to them. God guides people. God, in fact, chose a family, and the descendants of that family becoming a nation and possessing a land, and they in turn living as a country, as a society in a geographical area. That is the Old Testament, how God dealt with a nation. Okay. Now, when you come to New Testament, Jesus is actually speaking to individuals. I hope you understand the difference.
Mm,
That's the major difference. Jesus is talking to individuals. He's calling each one. Those who have hear, let him hear. That is the call.
mm,
So he's asking individuals to practice the kingdom values. So that is
mm,
what we read in the Sermon on the Mount. We all know that our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, was greatly influenced by the Sermon on the Mount, and I think that is what encouraged him to propagate ahimsa, non-violence. He was a great advocate of non-violence. Not only Mahatma Gandhi, and there was another person on the other side of the globe, that was Martin Luther King Jr.
mm,
When he was opposed with the social discrimination,
mm,
the chances of them taking violence as a means was very much there, but he advocated for non-violence. And the world says that both these people were actually, yeah, inspired by the teachings of Jesus. Okay. Now it sounds great. Today there are people who talk about, we are for peace, and there shouldn't be any war and all that. And they also talk about these two people, Mahatma Gandhi, a person for non-violence. So was Martin Luther King. Great. It appeals to us. But at the same time, I have a question. Is there any nation in the world, as a government, as a
mm,
ruling authority, practicing these teachings of Jesus as their constitution,
mm,
as their penal code?
mm,
There is no country who practices that. See, either in US or in India, we all know that it is impossible to rule a country, rule a society, to have an administrative system or a judiciary based on the teachings in the Sermon on the Mount. In the same New Testament, when you come to Romans, we also read about a ruler who actually carries the sword, and his responsibility as a judge is to punish those who offend, or those who attack others, or those who are involved in criminal activities. So there is a balance here. When it comes to a society, there should be a legal system where offenders are being punished. And if that is not there, you will have anarchy. Okay, we'll come to that. But then let's also talk about the war in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, we are actually talking about history that happened maybe 3,500 to 4,000 years ago. Okay, now 4,000 years ago, the the administration of a country, or their constitution, was not defined as we have it today. I'm not only talking about our country, I'm talking about all the countries and all the nations. Those days, many of them were following the tribal system. They live as a tribe in a particular locality, and some leadership will be there, and they will take care of the internal problems, as well as defending that tribe against another tribe that is attacking them. That's how all the people in the world survived. So at that situation, if someone says, no, we will not wage war, that's suicidal.
mm,
They will be annihilated, right? So war was a common thing at that time. People used to attack, the tribes used to attack one another, nations also used to attack one another. Okay, I believe that you don't have any problem with that. But the problem is when God speaks to his people and say that you must attack them and you must conquer them. Now, when God said that to the children of Israel, we don't have the full details of what was the situation. But of course, there are some hints, but not a full detail. For example, when God made a promise or a covenant with Abraham, he said that your children, the children of Israel, they will be in Egypt as slaves for 400 years. Again, slavery, another
mm,
topic that people used to criticize Bible and Christianity. And they try to blame Christianity and Bible for slavery.
mm,
My simple question to that is, if you look at all the civilizations in the world, especially the civilizations that have no connection with Christianity or Bible, even
mm,
in those societies you will find slavery. So it is ridiculous to blame Bible for slavery. Okay,
right,
Bible, as it has been written during the ancient history, it recognizes that there was slavery, there were slaves. But at the same time, when you come to the New Testament, and especially you look at those who have uh, advocated for the abolition of slavery, it was the people who believed the Bible.
mm,
Were the ones who felt compassion towards who were slaves, and they worked to deliver them. Anyway, that's a different story. But in Egypt, Israelites were slaves. Now, while they were slaves, God told Abraham that I will give them a land, the land of Amorites, after 400 years. But then he also added one sentence, which is that their iniquity is not completed, which means those people who lived in the land of Canaan, they were practicing wicked things. Their morality was very bad. They were doing a lot of things like incest and immorality and cruelty. All those things were there. It is not directly mentioned in the Bible, but when God gives the children of Israel the law, he says, for example, if anyone sleeps with his father's wife, he should be he should be killed. And along with that, it says, you should not imitate the practices of the people of the land, which means the people who lived in that land, they were practicing these things. It's very obvious. So if you look at the law, you may wonder why God is telling them to do this. Is there anyone who does that? We wonder. But the real issue is at that time, there were people who practiced these things, and God specifically said, you should not do that, which actually gives us an idea about what kind of people they were.
mm,
They were wicked people, they were attacking the neighboring nations, and they were so cruel. Now, I mentioned about two nations, Midianites and Amalekites.
mm,
Amalekites, they used to attack women and children. If when men go out to work, they look for that opportunity, and during that time they will go and attack women and children, enslave them or kill them and loot them. You have examples of that in the Bible. Even when the children of Israel were walking, Amalekites came from behind and they attacked the sick and the old people. Okay, that was their style of attack. That's the kind of people they were. Now, these details are not given in the Bible. It's mentioned in once or twice. That's all. So when you read the verse where it says God asked the children of Israel to destroy Amalekite completely, you take that verse and say that God is such a cruel God. He wants one nation to be annihilated without understanding what is the background. There is another verse which many people quote from the Bible and accuse Bible of saying that the Bible actually advocates violence. It's in Psalm 137. There it says about Babylon. Blessed are those who dash your children against the rocks. What a cruel thing to say, right? Take
mm,
a child, a small infant, smash that child on a rock, and the psalmist says, "Blessed are those who do that to you, O Babylon." Well, that's really hard. What kind of violence? It's not even it's war. It's
mm,
violence against
yeah.
infants, infanticide, right? That's the word. Again, you must remember that it is a song, and this song is written in Babylon, where the children of Israel were taken as slaves. And when they were attacked by the Babylonians in BC 586, this is exactly what the Babylonians did to the Jews. Okay? Now, in their sorrow, they've seen their children being smashed against the rock by the Babylonians. And here is a song that cries for revenge. And they're saying, what you have done to us, blessed is the one who does that to you. Right? That's what he said. That's what that song says. Again, without knowing the background, you can actually criticize. The Bible asks for smashing children against the rock. I think they are not informed well regarding what is written in the Bible. Then there is a verse in Micah which says that, let me read that verse, Micah 4:3. It is a very famous verse. It says that, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. This is again a verse from the Old Testament, and people say that, well, this is what God wants. That's true, this is what God wants. But will it happen now? Will it happen in a society in which we live in?
No.
My answer is no. You know why? The reason also is there in the Bible. The first book in the Bible, the Genesis chapter 3, we read of sin entering into the world.
Mm,
The world is our world, the world that we live in is a fallen world, sin-stricken world. There is no ideal condition here. Man have fallen, and that sin nature is there. Since we all have that sinful nature, it is impossible to have an ideal situation. Then what is Micah saying? Micah is actually talking about a time when God will rule in this world.
mm,
Prophecy, and those who study prophecy, they say that it is a millennium, a perfect rule by God in this world, where the problem of sin will be removed. At that time, there is no need of weapons. At that time, you don't need uh, swords or spears, because you are not going to get into the battle. The modern version of that is, I think it is there in front of you, and yeah, a revolver's end is being twisted and it is made useless. What they are saying is there is no need of guns when
mm,
that happens. But again, that is not possible today. We cannot,
mm,
because we have crime, we have criminals in the society, we have offenders in the society, and if the authorities don't take care of that, there will be anarchy and we will not be able to live in a society. It is dangerous for uh, ordinary people who don't want to get involved in crime. So Bible talks about war. Bible recognizes that there is possibility of war. Bible also told certain people, certain nations to be destroyed. When that was said by God, he was actually talking in terms of human beings. At that time, people used to fight. There was a war between nations. So he recognizes that and he spoke about that. See, there were times when people used to fight for a girl to get married. Okay, whoever kills the other person gets the woman. There was a time like that.
mm,
So that was this world. Now it is not there. It is not. It is. We cannot think about that. But
mm,
it was like that. Even at that time, God intervened with man and spoke to him. But at that time, God has to speak to mankind in his language, because man cannot reach God's standard. That's why God used those phrases in while speaking to man.
mm. Thank you so much, Mr. Ipe. You gave it was multiple perspectives actually, you gave within within that one question. So as you have spoken so much about these verses that might have been misinterpreted, and and how much the war has taken place. So my next leading question to you in this would be, is it right for a Christian to join an army?
Yeah, it's a very popular question, because um, in the Old Testament, the Ten Commandments, one of the commandment is thou shalt not murder, right?
Yeah.
But before that, in Genesis chapter 9, God says that man is created in the image of God. He is the crown of creation. Okay,
Mm,
And God said that if anyone sheds blood, God will punish him. He will be accountable for that. So, based on that, um okay, let me read that. Um, Verse 6, whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed, for God made man in his own image. Okay, this is even before the Ten Commandments were given.
mm,
Okay, now what is a murder? Murder is a premeditated, intentional killing of a person.
mm,
I'm not talking about manslaughter. You drive a car and you met with an accident and somebody died in that accident. That's even if you have made a violation of traffic rule, it's a manslaughter. It is not intentional. But if you decide that you want to kill someone and you plot for that and you commit the murder, that's premeditated murder. Okay, and Bible says that a person who does that, he should be punished. And Bible is actually advocating for capital punishment. Okay, again, I'm not going to discuss all that, but
mm,
Bible takes it very seriously. Shedding the blood of a man, killing a man, especially if it is murder, it's a very serious offense. Now the next question is, in battle, in the war, aren't you doing the same thing? Yes, you are. You are getting into a battle because if you don't get into the battle, you will get killed. Not only you will get killed, your family will get killed. So when somebody goes for war, in the ideal case, family and their society, their family, they are trying to defend them. To defend them, sometimes they have to kill. Okay, so
mm,
that is not considered as a murder.
mm,
Okay, that's not a murder. Now you can always ask this question. Well, we don't need war. What we need is peace. When you hear that, when people say that we are for peace, we don't want a battle.
mm.
After all, who wants battle? Who wants to wage war?
Yeah,
We all want to live in peace. But the
yeah,
problem is, sometimes to live in peace, somebody has to fight. Let me take an example. There was a battle between India and Pakistan, and the first Indo-Pakistan war started by Pakistan. And they thought, uh, being in a woman as the prime minister, or Lal Bahadur Shastri as the prime minister, mm, they will not be very strong. We can actually defeat them. Not only that, after the independence, Pakistan had better weapons, as Britishers give some good weapons to them. So they were having, maybe an kind of overconfidence that we can defeat India, and they started the battle. What would have been our response? I think we had the right response. We retaliated. If you wouldn't have retaliated, what would have happened to us? You don't want even to think about that, right?
mm,
We will be defeated, and we would have suffered a loss, a big loss, because we said, if we say that we will have peace. So when somebody attacks our country, it is our duty to defend them.
mm,
Now, those who live in South India, you may say that, oh, we've never seen war. That's because you are not living next to the border,
mm.
right? Okay,
Yeah,
thank God for that. We did not experience war, but sometimes wars are innovative. When somebody attacks you, you have to defend you, your country, your people, your society. Now that's your duty. You need to
mm,
do that. See, not only the soldiers, the army. It is even true with our police.
mm,
Just imagine if you don't have police or any law enforcement system in our country, what will happen? It will be total anarchy. Nobody will obey the rule. Law has to be enforced.
mm,
Good law, if we have good law, but that is not enough. It has to be enforced. Someone should make sure that people obey the law. And if you don't obey the law, there will be a consequence. It has to be taught, or it has to be practiced. So we should have police, we should have court, we should have jail and other penalty systems. If that is not there, who cares?
mm,
Isn't it? It will be impossible for us to do anything in this world. We will, if the law enforcement is not there, we will not be able to drive on the road.
yeah,
Even with law enforcement, it is difficult to drive. Just imagine if that was not there.
yeah,
So, a law enforcement system helps us as society to be healthy and to be
mm,
safe. Okay, to enforce the law, you need to use certain penalizing system.
mm,
That's why we have penal code, isn't
mm,
it?
yeah,
Just imagine if you are waiting in a bus stop and there's this little girl standing there. Somebody comes and attacks that girl. What would you do? You try to help that child, right? You will try
mm,
to protect if you are a normal person. And if that person who is attacking that girl is a strong person, you call the police. And when police comes, they are not going to do anything peaceful. They will actually overpower him.
mm,
There's no. What is the point in saying that I am for peace? We want peace. We want
mm,
that girl to enjoy life peacefully. But if
mm,
somebody is not allowing her to do that, then we need to fight. As someone said, I love peace. I want peace. But if it's needed, I am willing to fight for that peace. So that's what our soldiers do in the on the border. That they defend our peace. They help us to live in peace in this world. To
yeah,
live in peace in this world, we need authorities. We need authorities who have the authority to punish people. That's why in First Timothy chapter 2, we are asked to pray for those who are in authority. And you know what is the reason? That we should be able to lead a peaceful and quiet life in this world. If they are not there, we will not be able to do that.
mm,
So, joining defense force is actually a social service, that
mm,
you are involved in protecting your society from enemies. So,
mm,
there's nothing wrong in joining the army. Not only that, these days it has become a fad, to talk against defense, to talk against soldiers who fight in the army. It's there all over the world. But
mm,
if they are not there, you are not going to enjoy your life. You will not be able to say these things. You might lose your freedom.
mm,
So we, as citizens, we should actually honor those who take care of our security. So there is
mm,
nothing wrong in joining the army. In fact, we should honor them. We should appreciate what they are doing.
mm. Absolutely. So thank you, Mr. Ipe, for the amazing answer that you gave to the questions. I hope I think these are questions not just that and like just we had everyone must have had these questions when when they read these verses in the Bible, and I'm sure that that your that how much you elaborated and you articulated on these verses, and I'm sure it would help them and make it and make and understand the Bible much better. So again, thank you, Mr. Hype, for joining us here today, and thank you every single viewers who have been with us and who have been watching the live with us. It's been great to have you all. And if you ever want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with us at 63642521 and 64. And once again, thank you so much for each and every viewers who have been part of the Reality Bank. See you next week, guys. God bless you.